Luca De Lorenzo had finally started sleeping again. 6 months after the divorce, the mansion was silent. No fights, no late-night crying, no echo of Elena's footsteps fading down the stairs. He had convinced himself he preferred it that way. A mafia boss needed peace, not distractions. At least, that's what he told himself as he poured whiskey alone each night. Then the phone rang at 2:13 a.m. He almost ignored it, until the caller ID flashed. Civil Services, Maternal Records. A chill spread through him. De Lorenzo speaking, he answered, voice rough. A nervous woman on the other end cleared her throat. Sir, we are required to inform you. Your name has been officially submitted as the father on a newborn's birth registration. Luca froze. By whom? He asked, though he already knew. His pulse hammered. Elena De Lorenzo. For a second Luca forgot how to breathe. He gripped the phone so hard it creaked. That's impossible, he snapped. We've been divorced for 6 months, yes. But the child was born within legal time frame. There is no challenge submitted. The official spoke carefully as though she feared angering him. She wasn't wrong to fear. Luca shut his eyes. Elena had left without a word beyond the legal documents. No explanations. No tears. Nothing except the wedding ring she placed on his desk like a signed treaty. Now she had named him the father of a baby he had never known existed. A baby with his name. His heir. His weakness. Where is she? He demanded. We can't disclose that, the woman said quietly. But we assumed you were already aware. Click. Luca ended the call. Within 30 seconds he was on his feet, throwing on a shirt, rage and confusion burning through his veins. His security chief looked at him as he stormed down the hallway. Boss. Find her, Luca barked. Now. There were enemies who would kill for a chance like this. A child connected to a mafia dynasty? It was blood in the water. He grabbed his keys, fury and something deeper driving him into the night. Elena had kept a secret from him. A big one. And he was going to get answers, tonight. Elena sat in the tiny apartment she had made into a fortress of routine and quiet. A baby monitor chirped softly from the corner, the tiny rhythm of her son's breathing filling the room. She cradled him in her arms, rocking him gently, careful not to wake him. For 6 months she had managed, alone, unseen, untouched by the world she had left behind. She had hoped the past was buried, that Luca De Lorenzo would stay in the world of the mafia and she could stay in hers. But the phone call tonight had changed everything. The baby stirred, opening wide dark eyes that mirrored Luca's. Elena swallowed a sigh. Naming him had been the only choice. With threats still lingering from the mafia's rivals, her son needed protection. Luca's name on the papers wasn't just a formality, it was a shield. But it came at a cost. She hadn't wanted the call to happen. She hadn't wanted to drag the mafia boss back into her life. Every fiber of her being screamed that this was dangerous, reckless, and foolish. Yet, when she looked at her child's small, delicate fingers curling around hers, she knew she couldn't have done otherwise. The world was cruel and her son deserved a chance, any chance at survival. And now Luca knew. Her chest tightened, remembering how he used to command a room. How he could terrify anyone with a single glance, a single word. She had left him because she feared that power would consume their lives. But life had a way of bringing the past roaring back, uninvited, unrelenting. She imagined him now, probably furious, pacing, planning, hunting. His life was chaos incarnate, and she had thrown a grenade into it. Elena kissed the baby's forehead, whispering, I did what I had to do, my love. For you. Somewhere miles away, Luca was already moving. Security calls, cars starting, the low hum of the mafia's network beginning to pulse through the city. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. She had known this day would come eventually, but she had hoped for more time. The ex-mafia boss would find them. He would demand answers. And she would have to decide if she could stand firm, or if the past, with all its dangerous allure, would pull her back in. Her son stirred again and Elena pressed him closer. Whatever happened next, she would protect him. No matter the cost. The knock on the door was sharp, commanding. Elena froze, her heart pounding in her chest. She had known this day would come, but nothing could have prepared her for him. Luca De Lorenzo stood there, tall, dark, and dangerous as ever. The leather jacket clung to broad shoulders, eyes like storm clouds fixed on her. Behind him, 2 bodyguards flanked him like shadows, but Elena barely noticed. Her son stirred in her arms, sensing tension, and she tightened her hold instinctively. Luca? She whispered, though it sounded more like a warning than a greeting. Hello, Elena, he said smoothly, but his voice carried a lethal edge. I hear I have a son. Elena's eyes narrowed. You know, you don't get to just barge in here. He's my son. My choice to protect him. Luca took a step closer and she flinched, not from fear, but from the magnetism that had always unnerved her. I don't care about your choices. I care about him. That's my blood in his veins. For a moment, silence hung heavy in the room. Luca's gaze softened slightly as he looked at the baby, who blinked up at him with uncanny familiarity. Elena felt her chest tighten, heart betraying her with a pang of something she hadn't felt in months. You left, she said finally, voice trembling with more than just anger. You left us. Don't think I forgot. I left because I had no choice, Luca shot back, though his tone betrayed guilt. But you didn't think I'd stay away when it matters the most. You made me a father in secret, and now, he glanced at the baby, his dark eyes glinting with a mix of awe and menace. You've made it impossible for me to stay away. Elena swallowed hard. This is dangerous, Luca. If anyone finds out. I don't care, he interrupted, voice dropping to a growl. No one touches my family. Ever. The tension in the room was electric, crackling with old love, old anger, and a spark that refused to die. Elena knew she was facing a storm, and this storm wasn't leaving without her. Luca's hand hovered near the baby, and she caught herself holding him tighter. 6 months apart, he murmured. And now I'm here. You and I, and him. This changes everything. Elena's heart raced. Yes, everything had changed. The night air was thick with tension as Luca De Lorenzo returned to his mansion, the baby carefully cradled in his arms. His bodyguards trailed silently, but nothing in the world could prepare him for the storm waiting inside, the Mafia Council. The room was a sea of suits and cold, calculating eyes. Each council member knew Luca as a man of power, fear, and respect. But tonight, whispers buzzed like venom in the air. One of them leaned forward, voice low but sharp. Boss, we've heard rumors. A child. A secret heir. Luca's jaw tightened. It's true. Elena listed me as the father. And I intend to protect him. The room erupted into murmurs. The council members' faces betrayed a mix of concern and opportunism. One older consigliere cleared his throat. You realize, Luca, having a child outside the family's protection makes you vulnerable. Enemies will see weakness. Rivals will try to strike. Luca's eyes darkened. This isn't weakness. This is my son. And anyone who thinks they can harm him will pay with more than they imagine. Another council member, younger and ambitious, smirked. A child? In the middle of our operations? Boss, this could get messy. Luca slammed his hand on the table. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Messy? Yes. But no one will touch him. Not you, not them, not anyone. The council fell silent. Luca's reputation had always been absolute. When he spoke, threats weren't threats, they were promises. Behind the facade of intimidation, Luca felt a pang of something he rarely acknowledged. Fear. Not for himself but for his son. He had built an empire of shadows, but this innocent life, this tiny human, was something he would die to protect. Prepare the house, he commanded, voice low and sharp. Security. Guards. No one in or out without my say. And trace every movement Elena makes. If anyone dares. The council understood the unspoken words. Crossing Luca meant death, and now his wrath had a new target. Anyone who threatened his child. As Luca left the room, baby in his arms, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. A fierce, primal purpose. He wasn't just a mafia boss anymore, he was a father. And no one would stand in his way. The armored black SUVs rolled to a stop outside Elena's apartment. Luca stepped out first, the baby cradled securely against his chest. His bodyguards flanked him, weapons discreet but ready. Elena's heart pounded, not just from fear but from the pull she still felt toward him. Luca, she whispered, tightening her grip on the baby. No time for whispers, he said, voice low, dark and commanding. You, me, him, moving in with me. Now. Elena stiffened. You can't just. I can, he interrupted sharply. For his protection and mine. The world doesn't wait, Elena. There was no room to argue. Luca's tone left no doubt. He didn't ask, he commanded. And despite herself, Elena knew he was right. Outside, enemies lurked, waiting for any chance to exploit her vulnerability. Inside the mansion, everything was bigger, colder, and intimidatingly luxurious. Elena clutched the baby tighter as she took in the guards stationed at every entrance, the silent hum of security systems, the scent of power lingering in every room. Luca set the baby down on a plush crib, his eyes never leaving hers. You'll stay here, he said, voice softening just enough to make her heart skip, and so will he. Under my protection. Elena opened her mouth to protest, but the baby's soft cry reminded her of the stakes. Protection meant survival. Survival meant staying close to the man she had once loved and feared. Days passed and life in the mansion forced them into proximity. Shared meals, interrupted conversations, stolen glances, and unavoidable tension. Every time Luca touched the baby, every time Elena argued or scolded, the old chemistry flared. Anger intertwined with desire, frustration with lingering passion. One night, Luca appeared in the nursery doorway watching the baby sleep. His presence was magnetic, impossible to ignore. "He looks like me," he muttered, almost to himself. Elena's voice was sharp but quiet. "He looks like you. That's why I left. That's why I protected him from this world, for now." He stepped closer, voice lower, almost a growl. "Now he's part of it. Part of us. And I won't let anyone, harm him." Her chest tightened, the weight of the situation pressing down. Protection, danger, desire, all tangled together. Elena realized, with a mix of fear and unwilling thrill, that they were trapped in a storm together. And storms, once unleashed, rarely allowed anyone to leave unscathed. Elena sat in the nursery, the soft glow of the night light casting shadows across the room. The baby slept peacefully, oblivious to the storm swirling outside and inside. Luca stood by the window, arms crossed, watching the city lights flicker like distant sparks of danger. "I need to know," he said finally, voice low but insistent. "Why did you leave me? Why leave me, and him?" Elena's chest tightened. She had rehearsed this conversation in her mind 1,000 times, but now, with him standing there, she felt every word burn. "Because I feared for him. For us. You're a mafia boss, Luca. Your world isn't built for a child or for a woman like me." His dark eyes softened, but the tension remained. "I know what I am. I know the risks. But I didn't expect you to vanish without a word." "I thought leaving would keep him safe," she admitted, her voice breaking. "I thought walking away from you, from this life, would give him a chance at a normal life. I didn't think you'd find out so soon, or that you'd come after us like this." Luca's gaze shifted to the baby, his expression hardening. "And now?" Elena whispered, looking at him. "Now. I don't know if I can stay mad. I don't know if I can stay away. I never stopped loving you, Luca. I just stopped believing we could survive in your world." He stepped closer, closing the distance, and she felt the familiar pull, the dangerous magnetism that had drawn her in years ago. "You think leaving made us survive," he said, voice almost a growl. "But staying, facing this world together, might be the only way we survive now." Elena swallowed hard. Every nerve in her body screamed caution, but the baby stirred in his crib, his tiny hand reaching out as if recognizing Luca. Her heart clenched. Protection, love, danger, it all collided in an impossible tangle. "I left to protect him," she whispered. "And to protect myself. But maybe we have to face it together now." Luca nodded, a shadow of a smile touching his lips. "Then we face it. And I swear, no one will hurt him. No one will hurt us." For the first time in months, Elena felt a fragile spark of hope. Dangerous, unpredictable, and exhilarating, but real. The mansion was quiet, too quiet. Elena rocked the baby in the nursery, humming softly, trying to ignore the gnawing unease in her chest. Luca had insisted on extra guards, surveillance cameras, and reinforced locks, but even that didn't silence the shadow that hung over them, moving with lethal precision. "Step back," he growled, eyes scanning the room. His hand rested on the gun at his hip, trained and ready. A sudden noise shattered the stillness, a soft click, almost imperceptible, near the nursery door. Elena froze, heart hammering. She set the baby down gently, tiptoeing to the door. Luca was already there, moving with lethal precision. "Step back," he growled, eyes scanning the room. His hand rested on the gun at his hip, trained and ready. The door burst open. A masked figure lunged in, knife flashing under the dim light. Luca reacted instantly, a blur of movement and raw power. He disarmed the intruder in seconds, slamming him against the wall with a force that made Elena wince. "Get the baby?" Luca barked at the guards, who swooped in to secure Elena and the child. The attacker was restrained, but his intent was clear. They had come for the baby. Elena's hands trembled as she held her son close. Why would anyone? "They want him dead," Luca said, voice tight with rage. "Someone sees him as a threat, or leverage against me." She looked at him, eyes wide. "Our son, A target? Luca's dark gaze softened just for a moment as he lifted the baby, holding him protectively against his chest. He is my blood. Anyone who touches him dies. The adrenaline coursing through her veins mingled with something more dangerous, a mixture of fear and undeniable attraction. Every time Luca moved, every word he spat with that controlled fury, it reminded her why she had loved him and why she had left. You have no idea what they'll try next, she whispered, voice shaking. I don't care, he said, jaw tight. I'll burn the world down before they touch him again. And you, stay close. No one leaves this mansion without my say, including you. Elena's heart raced. The danger was real, immediate, and deadly. But so was the undeniable pull between them, the shared purpose that bound them together. In that instant she realized the truth. They were no longer just lovers or exes. They were a family forged in fire and shadows, and nothing would break them. Outside, the city pulsed with threats and secrets. Inside, Luca cradled his son, and Elena knew the battle had only just begun. The night was alive with danger. The streets buzzed with whispers of betrayal, rivals circling, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Luca stood in the war room of his mansion, eyes blazing as he surveyed maps, phone records, and surveillance footage. His enemies had made one fatal mistake. They had threatened his family. Elena watched from the doorway, holding the baby tightly. She could see the fire in him, the dangerous calm that always preceded his storms. The man she had once feared now terrified her in a different way. He was relentless, unstoppable, and utterly consumed with protecting their son. They're everywhere, Luca growled, slamming his fist on the table. Any weakness, any misstep, and they'll take him. Or her. Or both. Elena stepped closer. And you'll stop them? Luca turned, dark eyes locking with hers. I won't just stop them. I'll destroy them. Every last one. The baby stirred, sensing tension, and Luca's expression softened only slightly as he lifted him, cradling him close. He's my son, Luca said, voice low but deadly. And anyone who touches him will pay with blood. The council had underestimated him. Rivals thought a baby would slow the Mafia boss, make him vulnerable, distracted. They were wrong. Every move Luca made was calculated, precise, a symphony of chaos and power. Elena felt the pull again, the old dangerous chemistry flaring as she watched him command the room. You can't do this alone, she said. You need me too. Luca's lips curved into a shadow of a smile. I don't need you, but I want you. And right now, I can't afford to let anyone between us or him. As night deepened, Luca's forces mobilized. Streets were watched, enemies traced, and traps laid. The baby, sleeping peacefully in Elena's arms, was the most valuable prize in a deadly game. Elena realized something terrifying. She didn't just love him anymore. She trusted him. With her life. With their son. And as Luca's storm of vengeance began, she understood that this war wasn't just about power. It was about family, survival, and a bond that neither danger nor distance could ever break. The battle for their future had begun, and neither of them would back down. The city was a war zone, lights flashing, sirens screaming in the distance. Luca's enemies were closing in, but inside the mansion, a different kind of battle raged. Elena sat with the baby in her arms, heart racing as the muffled sounds of gunfire and explosions echoed through the walls. Luca appeared suddenly, dark and unyielding, a storm of anger and desire wrapped in one. They think they can touch us? He growled, voice like gravel. They have no idea who they're dealing with. Elena looked up at him, her chest tight. They're trying to kill him, trying to take everything from us. I won't let them, he said, kneeling beside her. His hand brushed a stray lock of hair from her face, and she felt herself shiver despite the chaos around them. Nothing, no one, will ever hurt my family. For a moment the world outside ceased to exist. The danger, the mafia, the schemes, they all faded, leaving just the two of them and the baby. Elena's defenses, built over months of pain and separation, began to crumble. I never stopped loving you, Luca, she whispered, tears pricking her eyes. I left to protect him, to protect myself, but I never stopped. His dark eyes softened, the usual sharpness replaced by something rare and raw. And I never stopped loving you either, he admitted, his voice low, almost a growl. Even when you walked away, even when I thought I had lost you, every second, every moment, I wanted you back. Elena's hands trembled as she placed the baby between them. We have to survive this, together. For him. For us. Luca's hand covered hers, gripping tightly. We will. I swear it. And when this is over, we'll fix us. No more running, no more fear. Just us. The distant sounds of chaos reminded them that the battle was far from over. But in that fleeting, heart-stopping moment, love and trust forged a bond stronger than any danger outside. Elena realized that Luca was no longer just the Mafia boss she feared. He was the man who would go to the ends of the earth for them. And she understood finally that nothing, not fear, not betrayal, not danger, could keep them apart when the heart demanded more than survival. For the first time in months she allowed herself to hope, and to believe in a future where love and family could survive even the deadliest storm. The dawn broke over the city, painting the skyline in soft gold and crimson. Luca de Lorenzo stood on the balcony of his mansion, the baby asleep in Elena's arms as she leaned against him. For the first time in months, there was a fragile peace. The war was over. Rivals had been dealt with, traitors eliminated, and the council finally recognized the child as part of Luca's legacy. Every threat that had once loomed over them had been crushed. Luca's empire was secure, but this victory wasn't about power anymore. It was about them, the family he had fought so fiercely to protect. He kissed Elena's temple gently. "We survived," he murmured, voice low and filled with emotion. "Not just the threats, but everything between us. The past, the anger, the distance." Elena smiled softly, tears glimmering in her eyes. "We did. Because we fought together." Luca lifted the baby, gazing at the tiny face that mirrored both of them. "He's ours. Fully ours. And I swear, I'll protect him and you from every shadow that dares come near us." She placed her hand over his, feeling the warmth and strength that had always drawn her to him. "And we'll protect each other. No more running. No more hiding." Luca's lips brushed hers in a slow, lingering kiss, one that spoke of regret, passion, and a promise of the future. The storm of danger had brought them back together, but it was love that held them there now. He pulled back slightly, eyes dark and serious. "Elena, I want more than just protection. I want us, a real chance. No Mafia, no shadows. Just us. And him." Her heart swelled, the weight of months of fear and longing melting away. "Yes, Luca. A chance at our family. A chance at us." The baby stirred in her arms, letting out a tiny yawn. Luca laughed softly, the sound low and rare, a mix of triumph and relief. "Then it's settled," he said, pressing a gentle kiss to the top of his son's head. "We're a family. Fully protected. And fully ours." Outside, the city moved on, unaware of the battles fought and won in the shadows. But inside the mansion, love, trust, and the bond of blood had won. For Luca, Elena, and their son, the storm had passed, and the future was theirs to claim.